Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So today we are back again with another Alliance War. This would be Alliance War 8, 7 in season 20. And this time we are up against Matrix, and they are very tough alliance. They did place in, I believe, third place last season, so they are definitely in the higher end of the master bracket. And yeah, this was going to be extremely close, extremely tight war. For this war, I'm bringing in Quake, Red Guardian, and Magneto. And some of you probably noticed already that yes, that Magneto is a rank 3 champion. I did rank him up pretty much straight before bringing him in the war, just so I would have the best chance possible, obviously. And well, let's be real, that might have been the excuse that I needed. And I'm going to be doing path 6 in section 1 and path 1 in section 2. Now, I knew Blade is not a metal defender, but I still figured rank 3 mutant champion who doesn't really bleed with class advantage, that the fight should be under control here. And as we can see, that slowly but surely I am playing. I'm not trying to build up too many these prowess charges, and also this node has strike back and aggression fury, so I certainly don't want to get to a point where he has high power and I'm stuck baiting out a special attack, or also to a point where I use a special attack and I push him to like level 3 or something. So I'm trying to be as conservative as I can. Actually, at some way during the midway point of this fight, I realized that I could have been knocking him down all this time, and yeah, just block baiting heavy attacks and punishing them with heavy attacks of my own in order to build up kind of like plenty prowess and then drop a big level 3. But yeah, I just decided to be better safe than sorry. And when it comes to Magneto's gameplay, there are going to be multiple more fights where Magneto is going to show exactly why he was brought in Alliance War Attack. I think this could potentially officially mark now the downfall of metal champions in Alliance War meta and Magneto Wars. I don't think it's going to be as widespread as Blade ever was at his peak, but I do think that Magneto could potentially shape the defenses that alliances are placing and the champion rank up choices. Anyways, now we're up against Magic, and this node has like power focus 1, I think, and something power alternator. It definitely has power alternator and something else, but it's not too important because I'm not going to be triggering any special attack. She's not going to get her limbo. I won't have any power. Magic won't have any power. So effectively there are no nodes. It's just a regular Magic to deal with. On top of all of that, she's not a stubborn defender, so I'm free to wait as frequently as I please. And here we can see that 40 seconds in the fight, she's already at like 7%, and the fight is going to be over momentarily. Now, a quick disclaimer, I don't know if I show how hard I boost throughout this war, but for most part I was running with quite large set of boost, except for one fight in particular, which we're going to talk about separately towards the end. But that was it for my contribution in tier 1. Now we are taking up tier 2 fights. Before I can actually get to my path 1, I have to deal with this EMP modification mojo with brute force. It's kind of funny as well that EMP modification and brute force both get completely bypassed by Guardian. Obviously, Guardian cannot gain any buffs on himself, so I don't have to worry about EMP modifications. I don't have to worry about mojo. And I also do not have to worry about the brute force, or wait, is it brute force or burden of power? I think it's the burden. Yeah, it's the burden. I'm always mixing the names of those two up. Anyways, so I went for a level 1 here, put that slow debuff on for no particular reason, just because I couldn't, because that increases my power gain. In reality, I probably could have just built to level 2 straight up. At this point, I'm at 14 charges on my shield. I go for level 2, and look at that level 2 crit. The second part, the 39k damage, all that extra damage, that was like 50 something k, well, more than that. It was like 60k level 2, and that mojo was finished on the spot. I was pleasantly surprised by the quickness of that fight, I suppose. Now we have a vigor and indomitable and sentinel on it. And yeah, it's time for Magneto to do Magneto things. I did waste some boost in this fight, and this is another important thing that I urge people to kind of like remind to themselves, because even though Magneto is perfectly designed to deal with tech champions and deal with robots and all that good stuff, and even though it might not seem like you're in a class disadvantage because Magneto's abilities basically counters that, but what doesn't get countered are the special attack boosts, and more specifically, in this case, mutant special attack power boosts. So not that they were needed, they would have been a complete waste either way. But just remember, when you're using Magneto against tech champions, power boosts are not really going to work at all. But yeah, this Sentinel fight, super simple. Heavy till level 2, drop a nice level 2 for 143k damage, and move on to the next fight. Now we have Lionheart and Buffet, and this is actually kind of like funny combination with Buffet, because obviously every time you do trigger the Buffet, opponent is just going to degen a bit, and it's kind of satisfying feeling in a sense, because there have been so many times that dealing with Buffet is extremely frustrating, and when you do trigger it, when you're trying not to trigger it, but it still happens sometimes, opponents get that huge chunk of health over there, and in this case, when you do trigger it, opponents just lose a chunk of health instead. It just feels nice, it definitely feels enjoyable. But yeah, so Magneto against Iron Man Infinity War, in this case, quite obviously I cannot parry quite straightforward, therefore being able to re-parry is extremely helpful. Luckily, I am doing quite alright with my re-parries. I feel confident enough in matchups such as this, and in some cases here I'm getting too playful. I shouldn't have charged that heavy attack from distance before. I knew that I have the unstoppable safeguard, but purely from perspective of saving my own health, here I was a bit too slow and I got tagged, and here I'm eating a level 1. But as I ate that level 1, I realized that Magneto is actually healing from that shock debuff, right? Because he takes 90% less damage from shock. I probably should have just let that fight go a bit longer and healed up some, but I did drop a level 3, and that swiftly finished the fight. Just out of pure, not really inexperience, kind of giddiness about the fact that Magneto is a very good champion now. This is actually going to be one of my more expensive wars, because I was, well, up until now, and well, spoiler alert, even up until end of the war, in whichever fight I'm using Magneto, I was never like in any real danger of losing the fight, but I was certainly allowing myself a few too many liberties with the playstyle and what have you. But either way, now we're going to be going up against this Mysterio Miniboss, and I'm actually taking him linked, because why not? He doesn't get any attack increase or health increase. Only difference is that I'm gonna have that power sting node active on me, which I figured I can either just wait out and enjoy the free willpower heal, but where I soon realized I'm not gonna be throwing any special attacks in this fight anyways, because of the node, which I just didn't want to play about too much with. So yeah, it doesn't matter that Mysterio has that power sting active, because I'm not gaining any power. I'm not going to use special attacks. So here I'm just basically parry heavy. Magneto completely ignores the buffet node. Again, as I mentioned before, it actually helps him slight amount to do some damage to the opponents, and he cannot miss against metal opponents, so I don't have to worry about anything in particular after Mysterio's level 2s either. And it's a super straightforward fight. Just parry, heavy, happy life, ignore the nodes, ignore buffet, ignore his abilities. Now there I accidentally do end up eating that level 1, just got caught, and here I get caught by a very random Mysterio heavy attack. Mysterio is probably the champion that catches me most frequently with random heavy attacks, so it did take some damage, but again, the fight was never in any serious danger. And that was kind of like it for my initial tier 2 setup. And now we have like mini boss action. I'm going to be using Red Guardian to deal with that Symbiote Supreme. He has Rage active and some other nodes, but the main node is Rage. And I wasn't actually allocated this fight initially, but at this point I was kind of like confident in myself or what have you, and I just wanted to finish up the war as well because I had a very busy day at work, which would be another story in itself. But anyways, so I wanted to get that guy down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate Indestructible 3 boost because the war is quite close, and I should have healed up Magneto before. That's a waste of health potion. But yeah, so anyways, I activated Indestructible 3 boost. I activated health boost because in case things do go wrong, I should be having some extra layer of protection. But the reason why I felt so confident in this fight is because I knew that Red Guardian's base damage is quite low, and even with class advantage he shouldn't be hitting too hard, especially against a 6-star Symbiote Supreme. In addition to that, I also knew that should Symbiote Supreme happen to get to 5 Fury buffs, Red Guardian can block unblockable attacks and stun the opponent and deal extra damage with that. So I figured in case things do go sideways, I should still have a quite good chance to finish out this fight well enough. And obviously Red Guardian cannot gain buffs, so even if Sorcerer Supreme does have maxed out Mystic Dispersion or whatever, I don't care about it because I'm never going to trigger Mystic Dispersion because I don't gain any buffs there. Now, as we can see, the fight is going fairly steady. I'm actually going to speed up the rest of the fight because it's a very simple, straightforward fight. But yeah, as you can see, Red Guardian is working pretty much perfectly for this fight. So at some point here, I drop a level 2 as well, just in order to try and increase my damage. But then I kind of quickly gave up on that extra debuff. And in addition to that, I also let my slow expire just so he doesn't get willpower heal and I can finish out that fight quicker. I kind of like gave up on special attacks and everything. Just very kind of like basic pounding in a corner, bait out away special attacks and just hit him till he goes down. Without heavy attacks, without special attacks, I never triggered Rage, so it's very easy, very simple. And now that Hurt Locker Darkhawk, I will make a tiny mistake in this fight because I'm going to forget that he has unblockable special 1. But other than that, obviously it's going to be super straightforward fight, just going to parry heavy up until level 3, and that's going to be all she wrote. So Darkhawk does take significantly reduced damage whilst he has that armor up, well, not armor up, that armor phase, armor mode active. But yeah, Magneto obviously works quite perfectly. So here I did take that level 1 to the face. I did still have Indestructible boost active, so that buffered a lot of damage. And from this point forward, the fight's going to be extremely kind of like steady. Darkhawk is a stubborn defender, but it never becomes an issue because I'm just parrying and heavying, so I'm consistently blocking. And even if I do trigger stubborn before I land my heavy attack, I always pretty much happen to take that hit in the block. But yeah, that will also be my last fight for the war as it is going in the background. I'm gonna let you guys know that we did win it. We are very happy with another win. That would put our record at 6-1 now, I believe. We lost one war so far, so hopefully we can finish this season in top 3 like we did the last season. And shout out to Matrix guys. They are certainly very good players, and I'm sure they did the best they could. Congrats to all the MVPs, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed watching Magneto in action, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon. Hit that like, sub, and all the other buttons. See ya.